There is a sound, a vibration so unsettling, so theoretically volatile, that for centuries people believed it held a dark power. It's a frequency that divides, that questions, a frequency that refuses to resolve. Today, we're going to decode the machine, we're going to find the ghost, we're going to dissect the devil's interval.
Diabolus in musica, the devil in music. Now, this wasn't just some cool, edgy nickname. It was a warning. It was a label slapped onto a musical interval that just defied the perfect, divine harmony the medieval church was looking for. They genuinely thought this sound was dangerous, a corruption of the sacred order. But the danger they were sensing, it wasn't supernatural. It was a problem they just couldn't solve, a mathematical one.
So, to really get this frequency, we have to reframe the whole legend. The fear of the tritone wasn't born from some dark ritual or demonic conjuring. No, it was born from a deep-seated anxiety within music theory itself. A fear of the unknown, a fear of the unresolved.
So what exactly is this thing? Well, its name, tritone, comes from the ancient Greek for, you guessed it, 3 tones. And it's exactly what it sounds like, an interval that spans 3 whole tones. But here's the really wild part. It's the precise mathematical halfway point of an octave. 6 semitones up, 6 semitones down. It's a point of perfect yet deeply unstable symmetry. It creates a schism, a split, right down the middle of our entire harmonic system.
And this is where the legend really pulls away from the truth. The popular myth, it tells stories of excommunication, of composers being forbidden from writing this for fear of conjuring Lucifer himself. The reality? Honestly, it's way more practical. There was a rule, mi contra fa, that basically warned singers to avoid it because it was just incredibly difficult to sing in tune. It was harmonically unstable. It defied the simple, clean ratios that the church considered perfect and divine. So it wasn't satanic, it was just a puzzle that music theory at the time had no solution for.
So, okay, if it wasn't summoning demons, why does it feel so dark? Right? Why does it create this physical sensation of tension inside you? The answer isn't in mythology, it's in physics. It's in the raw, physical collision of sound waves hitting your ear.
The problem all boils down to the ratio. A perfect, stable interval, like an octave, has a super simple frequency ratio, 2:1. Clean, easy for our brains to compute. The tritone, though, its ratio is 1 to the square root of 2, an irrational number. It's a mathematical equation that doesn't have a clean answer, and because of that, our brains can't resolve it into a simple, neat, whole number relationship. By its very nature, it feels neurologically incomplete.
This physical effect has a name: sensory dissonance. See, in a nice consonant interval, the harmonics all line up and they reinforce each other. But a tritone's harmonics? They're just close enough to clash. They create frequency interference, a phenomenon musicians call beating, and your ear perceives this physical roughness in the sound wave as tension, as something being wrong.
And this is what's so brilliant about its psychological effect. The tritone is audibly ambiguous. It just hangs there in the air, creating this vacuum that practically begs to be filled. It's a question that demands an answer. Your brain is hardwired to figure out where it's going next, which compels you to keep listening. This unresolved tension isn't evil, it's pure narrative power.
And so what was once forbidden became a tool. Composers and musicians, especially when we get into the 20th century, started to harness this tension on purpose. The tritone became the foundational blueprint for conveying drama, suspense, and just raw, visceral power.
And you know what? Once you know how to listen for it, it is everywhere. I mean, from the opening cello in Sibelius's Fourth Symphony to the tension in Bernstein's Maria from West Side Story. But it really found its home in heavy music. The opening riff of Purple Haze by Hendrix, it's built on it. Slayer literally named an entire album after it. And of course, most famously, it is the 3-note riff that arguably gave birth to heavy metal itself, Black Sabbath by Black Sabbath.
You had to understand, pioneers like Tony Iommi weren't some theatrical devil worshippers. They were sonic architects. He was actually inspired by the ominous sound of Gustav Holst's Mars, the Bringer of War. He heard that inherent physical tension in the tritone and just knew instinctively that that was the sound of dread. It sounded right because the vibration itself carried the exact emotion he was trying to convey.
And on guitar, this dark power is incredibly easy to get to. A tritone is just 3 whole steps. It sits really comfortably under the fingers. This simple, geometric shape on the fretboard unlocks a whole universe of dissonance, making it one of the most fundamental building blocks for heavy, powerful riffs.
All right, now for the ritual. Knowing the interval is one thing. Knowing how to sculpt its frequency to make it hit as hard as possible, that's another. This is where we shift from musicology to audio engineering. How do we make that dissonance cut through a mix like a razor?
There are 2 steps, and they are absolutely critical. First, you have to eliminate the enemy of clarity, mud. That low-mid frequency range, somewhere between 250 and 400 hertz. That's where all the instruments just pile on top of each other and turn to sludge. Cutting there is essential. Then, you forge the weapon. You move to the high mids, between 800 hertz and 1.6 kilohertz. This is where the percussive click of the pick hitting the string lives. This is the razor's edge.
Now this leads to 2 main philosophies for heavy guitar tone. You've got the classic 80s V-scoop where you just cut the mids entirely. That creates a massive, wide sound. But the modern approach, it's way more surgical. Instead of a wide cut, it's a focused boost right in that high mid-range. And the result is a tight, aggressive, and really articulate tone that just slices through a dense mix without adding any of that mub.
And that leads us to the final, kind of counterintuitive secret. Real power doesn't come from more distortion. It comes from clarity. James Hetfield of Metallica famously had this aha moment when he realized that backing off the gain actually made his sound heavier. So why is that? Because it preserves the transients, that initial, sharp attack of the pick on the string. Too much gain just compresses and blurs that attack, and it turns a tight riff into a wall of noise. Clarity is king.
So you see, the devil was never in the music. It was in the math. It was an irrational number that our brains just couldn't resolve. But what was once misunderstood is now a tool, a blueprint for tension, a frequency that can be forged into a weapon of pure sonic power. The machine has been decoded.
From a mathematical problem in ancient Greece to the very foundation of modern metal, the tritone is proof of the power of dissonance. The frequency has been unleashed. Use it wisely. Now, what dark theory should we decode next?